Hey everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. We're your host, Erick Mando, and this is episode 56. We're bringing you the top stories in AI, Bitcoin, tech, and wealth, so you too can get AI to do your job for you. Dale.
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 All right, man. What's going on in Bitcoin news?
Man, did you see Bitcoin? It went shot straight up to 69 and then went shot straight back down to 65.
That's live right now, though.
Don't get too excited, but get excited.
Yeah. It's like some of the technical analysis people, it's like, yeah, it looks like a flag. It looks like a whatever, and it just reach out that, and suddenly it's just, no, I did it.
And then and then they're like, no, but it's because it has to find support again after it goes through. So, for those of y'all that are really interested in technical analysis, there might be something to it. You can always, after the fact, kind of go back and say, oh, it was this pattern that people saw. So that is one of the patterns that people are seeing bull flags. They're seeing cup and handles. Mm-hmm. They're seeing inverted head and shoulders. They're saying lots of things, but it's like what's that thing where you do your tea and you spin your tea and you read the tea leaves? It's kind of like that, right?
It's speculation and woo-woo shit.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say one thing. A lot of times you may see just one of these indicators or technical analysis patterns, right? Just one. But right now we're seeing a lot of them and they're all seem to be kind of lining up. So that's why you might see a lot of videos right now talking about Bitcoin. It's going to happen. The banana zone's coming, get ready. That's why. It's because there's a lot of these indicators that are kind of lining up right now. And even there's a lot of news that's going on right now that might lead to it. Yeah. Mando, what'd you see this week in the news?
One interesting one was that caught my attention. It was for the one for Microsoft. The board is proposing in the SEC to be able to get some Bitcoin in the balance sheet. Basically, very very similar to MicroStrategy, and even I think that they quoted MicroStrategy as a
probably. That would make sense.
Guess what? Guess who is behind this?
Is it? What do you mean? Is it Saylor? Is it Gates?
BlackRock again. BlackRock owns a big portion of Microsoft. So I think this is kind of my own speculation. I think that is like, hey, we should just buy some Bitcoin because they know that this will spark a lot of. It's like, well, if Microsoft is doing it, why not all of the different tech companies should be doing it? I mean, Elon did it before, right? He has also in Tesla some Bitcoin in the balance sheet. Obviously, MicroStrategy. So Michael Saylor has been like showing off to everyone and like, look how smart I am. Like when the S&P 500 is like, I don't know, whatever percentage is right now versus 1,000%, right? A year.
Yeah, I think Saylor's done a pretty good job of getting the word out. And ultimately, he made that right connection with Larry Fink from BlackRock. And, he's taking it from there. I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Because, Bill Gates is not right. He's not leading Microsoft anymore. But of course, I think he probably still has a lot of influence over maybe what they do or what they think. Because Bill Gates has never been like a proponent of Bitcoin, right? He's always been kind of like standoffish on it. Like he's like, I wish I could short it, blah, blah, blah. He said these things before. So it's really interesting that now this news is coming out from Microsoft that, hey, they're thinking about adding it to the balance sheet, just like MicroStrategy. But I think you're probably right? It has to do with BlackRock. It has to do with Larry Fink. He knows that it'll take just one other big company to set off this domino effect, right? Of everyone starting to add to their balance sheets.
Yeah.
Now, did they talk about the allocation or anything like that? Like how much they were thinking of doing?
They didn't, but this decision is going to be happening in December. But here is the weird thing. They also were trying, I think that maybe it's because the board is split, that maybe Larry Fink and BlackRock is pushing, twisting their arms like, hey, you should do this, right? and maybe
Mhm.
the rest of the board, they're more like a Bill Gates kind of thinking, right? And remember, Bill Gates, he was buddies with, or his buddies with Warren Buffett, and
Mhm.
also they are in the look. I don't want to get haters here on the podcast. There's a lot of people that they love Warren Buffett, right? Uh,
The
I,
Buffies, what are they called?
I guess I like the Swifties. So don't get offended. I'm a fan of Buffett, but sometimes he's wrong. so, so I think that maybe that's kind of where Bill Gates was getting his input, right, of investments from Charlie Munger, um, rest in peace. Um, uh, and basically, they just call it rat poison, right? So
Mhm.
it's funny because also Elon got in a fist with Bill Gates. I don't know if you remember that tweet that actually, if
Oh.
you want to lose something, he put like a pregnant emoji for Bill Gates. It's freaking Elon is everywhere, man. And yeah, he was basically saying that sometimes they have bad decisions, right? And I think that Microsoft internally they might decide. So we'll see in December how that plays out.
Yeah, that'll be very, very interesting to see how that vote goes. They must be there doing their internal politicking right now. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool though. I mean, that's if it does pass, more than likely. I mean, most of the folks have been saying, "Hey, companies should put at least 1%, 1 to 5% into their treasury." So that would, I don't know, that at least if they're dipping their toe in there, if Microsoft dips their toe, that's what $10 billion or something like that, $10 billion that they would just be trying out to see how it works and things like that. So I think that's why you may have seen a little spike this week and then kind of came back down on the price action.
Yep.
So I think that's it's if just a little bit of news like that can make it move that much, I think it's going to be pretty interesting if it does pass, because it will be a signal to the rest of the industry that look, this is something that's viable. MicroStrategy did that proof of concept. Tesla has tried it out. Microsoft is going to try and do it like officially. A lot of states have already added it to their pension funds, things like that. So I think, and we've got different countries, right? El Salvador, obviously, and he's trying to orange pill a lot of different countries as well. So it is making their rounds. And just our normal disclaimer: we're just two dudes on the internet. We're not financial advisors, but things do seem to be looking up, and everything kind of coming together all at this opportune time, right? I think it's pretty interesting that they're looking at doing it right now because I think they realize that, right, that banana zone is around the corner, and they don't want to miss it, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Talking about Microsoft, they also own Xbox, and there is this game called Off the Grid, and basically there has been a bunch of different games that they're trying to use crypto, but this is one of those that they are in the console, right? And they're using the economy for using like NFTs. So,
Mm.
or they're promising to that. So it's just how, for me, is how interesting is that all of these different companies they start using the underlying technology, and sometimes the users don't even know, right? Like what they're doing. Like, and that happened to Reddit. If you notice
Mm.
the avatars for Reddit, they're NFTs internally.
Mm.
And again, people they are using creating them, but they didn't even realize that they were using like crypto. So I feel that maybe a lot of these different technology is gonna get massively adopted, whether they want crypto or not. It's just the technologies are choosing to to use those techs.
Well, you know what? I mean, for the everyday person, do they really think about, hey, what software stack is being used on, on my favorite game or my favorite, it's like that's probably for the everyday person. Maybe for techies and things like that. Yeah, we think about that stuff a little bit more. Like, I wonder what
Hmm.
their data center looks like. Yeah, I mean, but I think for everyday folks, they're the normies. They don't really think about what's powering their everyday life. So yeah, I think we're gonna start seeing that a lot more. So on this game, the you said it's called Off the Grid, right? Do you know like what is it in the game that they're actually doing? You mentioned NFTs. How does it play into like how does it work?
Well, it's just any like inside assets for the economy. Like if you want a new gun, a new whatever, right? So you
Oh,
have
so
all
it's
of
a
these,
first person shooter type game.
something like that. Yeah. So in that way, you can get more different type of props from the game.
Is it? Do you have to pay for it? Is it one of these free games, or is it part of their like?
Was one of those free to play games,
Mhm.
and then internally, I guess you basically start getting all of the different things that you want.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but yeah,
You know,
it
it
was
sounds
one
really
of the top
familiar.
lists. Hmm.
That's pretty good. I'll have to. I don't have Xbox. I'm on PlayStation, so I can't really check it out. But it's kind of funny. So uh, maybe I don't really remember when was it. It must have been 8 to 10 years ago. We did a hackathon. Me, Lee, and James, our buddies. Right, we went to Vegas and did a hackathon over there. And it sounds a lot like the thing that we pitched to them. We basically pitched, this is before NFTs were a thing, but we pitched basically these digital assets to be part of video games, that you would have like your own locker or your own store or vault, I think is what we ended up calling it, your vault for all of the in-game things that you would buy and purchase. And so these things would be like one of one or one of five type things. So they had like actual value. These things could not be duplicated. So it really did mean something if you had one thing, because there were only so many of them that could go around within the ecosystem of the game. So then it became a marketplace where you could, sell a shield, you could sell a weapon, things like that. We pitched this to MasterCard. MasterCard did not. We didn't even place in the hackathon. I'm like, man, our presentation was badass. We had really nice graphics. The way these things work, it's like I think this one was a 24-hour hackathon.
Hmm.
Now we've participated in hackathons before where we have won and we have placed. So the one of those groups in Austin though didn't give us our Bitcoin prize, so they held on to it. That's worth a lot of money now. Back then, we're like, whatever. I guess it's okay. We got plenty. But it's like, oh, now it's like, oh crap. We should have gone back and gotten our prize money. But it's pretty interesting. Like back then, right? Again, 8, 10 years ago, I forget when it was. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Y'all probably have seen me wear my Money 2020 hackathon. Maybe it
Maybe.
was in the year 2020 then. No. It wasn't that recent. Either way, you know what MasterCard picked though? Like they picked something. One, I think they picked as one of the finalists a way to like donate money to like homeless people as you're driving by, something like that.
I mean,
Okay,
it's
I get
obvious.
it. Like,
Homeless people have Bitcoin.
yeah, I mean they have their hardware wallets, I'm sure. That's on there. So that's one of the ones that plays. So I was like, okay, I MasterCard just wants to do a goodwill, feel good type of thing project. I got it, whatever, big company. The next one that they did, what was kind of interesting, was that they did like in another finalist was like in stadium purchases with crypto, um, which sounded a little interesting. I think you could do like seat reservations, something like that, but I didn't see how crypto made it better. Like I think they already have these systems in place now. Why move to crypto? Like, what is it about it that would enable some newer technology? I think that vision or that messaging really wasn't very clear. I thought for something like this game, it makes a lot of sense, is because this also enables creators. So if you're a big fan of the game, you can then be a creator. You can make your own weapons. You can make your own shields.
Hmm.
You can design them how you like them. You can make them look visually a certain way in the game. And then you have this whole economy within the game. And you can sell your own stuff. It's kind of like that Second Life, right? You remember that, where they
Yeah.
have like this whole virtual ecosystem? Yeah, same thing, but in a game. Um, so I think, yeah, this whole concept, I think, really does make a lot of sense. So much so that we tried to pitch it to Mastercard several years back, but
Well, they
uh,
executed it.
someone else did. That's the story of our lives, right? We also did
Yeah.
one. What was it called? Hydrix. That
That one was Steam. Google did it, right? So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Google did it. So it's like maybe we're a little bit. too far ahead,
I
or maybe if
dude,
we stick with it like longer term,
true.
it'll catch up.
But it's just timing, right? So a lot of these things
Yeah,
needs to be in the right time, and I think that now that I'm older, I think that is just kind of the point, right? Like if you're too early, it doesn't count. If you're too late, it doesn't count, right? It doesn't work. It's
yeah.
just to have the timing about right. But going back to Bitcoin, dude, Bitcoin is kind of the new asset that is like a better asset, right? So before you have a butter, there's a nice kind of like picture. It's not a meme because it's more like an explanation, right? You see kind
Hmm.
of like the from the caveman to right now, and you see barter in some point, then from barter to gold, then from gold to metal to fiat, and then to plastic, right? Credit cards, and then moving into electronic money, and now guess what? Your BTC, right? Your crypto. So
And you
I,
have the
I
big
did
Giga Chad face in Bitcoin. Yeah.
maybe
No,
or a
it's very
Neanderthal, right?
interesting. The what's that? Or
A
right? You
Neanderthal,
start with the
yeah.
Neanderthal. I think it's very true, and you start when you make these changes and you make these moves and you're growing technology from the start to the end here, you experience a lot of resistance. The folks that have it good right now don't want to see things get better for everyone else, and I think that's what the case is for like the folks like the Buffetts, the Bill Gates that we were talking about earlier. They're the ones that are in control right now. They're the ones that have the big pots of money. Why would they
Or
want to see
land.
things change or land? Like, why do they want to see things change so that their position becomes weakened? The thing is, if you get comfortable, and this is kind of goes across a lot of different areas, right? If you get comfortable, you don't change with the times, you're going to be disrupted in terms of technology is going to come in and take over, take your market share. You have to be able to adapt with the times, basically adapt with the people. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind and be the blockbuster of video, right? So
There
it's a
was
tale as old as time. They and I think maybe this is a good step. Like Microsoft realizes, okay, times are changing. The old views like Buffett and Munger, those are fading away. It's time for kind of the new thing to give away. Larry Fink is on the forefront of that. They're on the right track there.
yeah. A couple decades ago, this is kind of an old saying in tech. Basically, software is eating the world, right? So I think that already swallowed it. It's like now it's like I guess puking. So yeah, um, it's just interesting now with AI. You know how everything is just getting adjusted, and now
Mhm.
we are converging. We'll start seeing maybe some robotics. I think that we're ready. The motors, the machines, and everything that we have the infrastructure is ready for us to have like Tesla. So very soon. Talking about
Yeah.
Tesla, though, what are the news over there in Tesla?
Oh man. So, we've been over here enjoying our Cybertrucks, right? By the way, we've got some videos coming y'all's way so you can see this and see kind of part of our everyday life. Y'all may have seen our videos on the cyber maintenance, which has gotten a lot of views. Which, by the way, appreciate all the comments and everything. Maybe take this opportunity right now to like and subscribe, share with your friends, turn on notifications. Because we love bringing you this content, but we love it even more when you actually watch it and reach out. Um, so I would say I got on the boat 5 years ago, right, to order this
Hmm.
this Cybertruck, right. It just so happened that at the time I was looking for to buy a new vehicle. I was looking for something different. I was like, I've never had a truck. Maybe I'll look into a truck. I was looking at the Raptors. They were priced okay. I said, well, maybe I can do this. But I went down the rabbit holes on the internet and I heard Tesla's thinking about coming up with a truck. And so I was following this for like several months. And finally, the day came where they unveiled the Cybertruck. And at
Hmm.
first, the story goes, I thought it was a joke. I was like, oh man, they're punking us. This is not really the truck they're coming out with. Well, lo and behold, it wasn't. So So I was like, at first I was like, I didn't get it, but after seeing it several times overnight, the next day I did put my reservation. That was back in November of 2019. So I waited 5 years to get this truck, right? So I've been anticipating it, and over time, a lot of the specs changed. The price definitely changed. It doubled compared to what it originally was because they said it was going to be maybe 60K or something like
Hmm.
that. I ended up buying it for right with the taxes and fees and everything is almost 130K. So it's a big difference, a big swing in the price from where it was 5 years ago to where it was this year. So, but a lot of that had to do with the pricing on the foundation package, right? They call it a
Hmm.
foundation package. Early reservation holders could go order it. You ended up getting a foundation package as well.
Yep. And they literally just finished this month, in October 4th. I think that was the date
All the
that they.
deliveries for foundation, huh?
Yeah. And it turned out that only 2.5% basically decided to, reservation holders decided to buy the truck. It doesn't surprise me, right? Because of the price hike.
Yeah.
I feel that is like it's a price that not a lot of people can, right, or want to spend. So I wanted to ask you this in front of the camera, Ramirez. What do you feel now, seeing the truck is now worth 80K? Are you doing the Homer Simpson like?
Dope. No, no. What are the reasons, right?
Mm,
One, I love that the truck is so different. That was one of the things that was like when I was first shopping for trucks. I was like, they all kind of look the same. There hasn't been any innovation that I saw. I'm a big tech guy, right? I'm a big innovation guy. I love to see things change and evolve and improve over time. And I didn't see any of that, right? I saw all the big truck companies being complacent. Now, then again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
yeah, yeah,
There, it's Ford has been the best selling truck, blah 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 blah, forever, right?
yeah.
Except for now. I think Cybertruck now might be maybe not the best selling truck, but the best selling EV truck.
EV, yeah. Mhm.
So so that's one of the things I'm like, I enjoy that somebody was willing to go out on a limb and design something like this, even though even me at first I was like, what the heck? But I appreciated the experimentation. I appreciated that someone was willing to go out and fill this gap. People don't always people don't always build products for the people in this niche. They go for the mainstream. They go
Mhm.
for the easy money. So I like that Elon was saying, you know what, I'm going to build something that I would want to ride in. I'm going to build something that, has this newest technology. I'm going to build something that's going to make an impact and leave a legacy and potentially shift the whole industry, which I think it has right now. All the
Mhm.
other truck makers are making their EV versions.
Yeah.
Some are a little bit more traditional looking, and some of them are going to be a little bit more outlandish. But I think this broadens the industry so that other people can also experiment a little bit. So I
And they're
like that.
far. By the
And
way,
that's
they're
why I'm
far
willing to pay the
away,
money for it.
and they're far away from where Tesla is. Like So you're saying basically, all right, this guy is like a patronage, right? Like you're like, you know what, this is art.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I'm willing to just pay, which for me, to be honest, is not about. It sounds like cliche. It's not about the money. It's like in that part, it wasn't. It was something that I want just to have, right? And it was more like a. For me, I was very close for a Raptor. I was looking for a truck as well, and the one, if I wouldn't get this one, probably I will get a Raptor, because
Mhm.
it's one of those things that, man, I need a freaking truck, right? And you have to get a friend. Hey, could you just name your truck, or freaking like just rent a truck, right, from Home Depot or whatever.
I actually have
Uh,
wood from Home Depot in my truck right now that I need to unload. So I'm actually using it as a truck.
yeah, yeah. So I think that is at least in Texas, distances are very wide, and we have kind of big backyards and whatever, right? So you need to keep improving or doing things in the house. Yeah, and I was looking for that. So, and again, it's a lot of the things that we are getting from the packages, right? For the foundation is nice. You get very comfortable with a lot of the tools that the now the system provides, right? Sometimes it's like when I was using my wife's car, I literally got out without turning it off because I'm
Did I
used
leave
to,
that
right?
on?
So I'm used to just even leaving the car and just lock by itself. Guess what? You have
Yep.
to click the button, right? So little things like that that makes your life way easier.
Oh yeah, for sure. The full self driving is getting a lot better. Though it did try to kill me a couple times last week, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think I like that the whole platform can become it's upgradable. For a lot of traditional trucks, you don't really see that. So I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm okay with it. Would I have appreciated saving like 20, 30 grand? Of course. All right. I mean, yeah, but that's
It's
not the
like,
case, and I don't feel bad about it because I really love the truck. And with this, right, I got the Foundation Cyber Beast, so I also now have like home backup power because of it. I could plug my truck into the house. I have my power wall installation, which I'll probably do a video on it pretty soon, so you guys can see it.
yep.
And it'll my truck can back up my house power. So I mean, it had a lot of benefits to it. It's still a little justification, right? Because it still was pricey, 130K. But then again, I was already planning on spending somewhere in that range for either maybe like a little Gallardo, a Lamborghini, or maybe F430, a Ferrari, something like that. So it was already in the ballpark, anyways. I went the truck route. I felt it was going to be safer than like a Ferrari or Lambo. Um, I think it made a lot of sense for me for what I wanted. It's a utility vehicle too, so I can carry the wood home
Yeah.
from the store. Provides power. It can go through water here, flood waters in Houston. It just checked a lot of boxes. Would I have liked to save 20K? Sure, of course. But
YOLO.
YOLO, YOLO, right? You know what?
Carpe
I have a
diem.
funny story.
Sure, go for
So
it.
this truck gets a lot of attention, and it gets
Yeah.
like both positive, negative, right?
Yep. Have they
But
give you the finger?
yeah, I've gotten the figure a couple times. I've gotten the gross face
The
also.
EU face, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like ew. I think probably has to do with like Elon and stuff like that. But I had a vehicle before also that would get attention. I had that Porsche Cayman Sport. It was all black, blacked out. It had the exhaust and everything on there. That was a really fun car. By the way, that car, I had like 4 people hit me in that car. So
Yeah, I
like that's
remember.
why I was like, okay, I got to move on from that. I'm not sure what it was. I don't know because those vehicles they kind of bait you. They bait you into like having fun with them because it was a manual transmission. You can move around on the street, stuff like that. People love trying to keep up with you, and they would just hit me. They would sideswipe
Yeah.
me. They hit me from behind. Whatever. It's a really small vehicle too. That's another reason why I like the Cybertruck because it's quick, like that Porsche, but it's a little bit bigger and you feel a little bit
Hmm.
safer. But I had one guy in that Porsche where I went to the gas station. I was just filling up at the gas station, and the guy next to me also filling up his vehicle. He just comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, I like your car. It's pretty nice." It's like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And this car is not super expensive, at least in comparison to like Lambos, Ferraris, stuff like that. It's kind of one of their middle version of the Porsche. He's like, "Hey, can I have $5?" I was like, "What?"
Okay.
So it's just like people like feel emboldened to come talk to you with some of these vehicles. I was like, I guess, how are you paying for your gas right now? I gave him a couple bucks. It's like, hey, thanks, man. It's kind of weird. I haven't had anyone do that on the the Cybertruck. Now, this guy was not a homeless guy. This guy he had like a Toyota Camry or something. It's like a nice a nice vehicle. Dude asked me for money. Just I guess he
Mhm.
assumed like dude drives a Porsche. He must have extra money lying around to give around. I just thought it was hilarious, so I gave him a couple bucks. Just as I guess a story, right? For the what do the kids say now for the story or for the Instagram? Or man, I need to brush up on my Gen Z speak.
That would be a sauce suspicious,
Oh, that would be sus. But I haven't had that with the Cybertruck, but you do get a lot of people coming up and talking to you and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I think that's as part of the purchase, that's also part of the experience. Now, a lot of people don't want this experience,
Oh
but you're
yeah.
going to get it nonetheless, right?
My wife, she didn't like it that part, right? Because people
Yeah.
will just do the same things to her, and look, we have a thick skin, right? I mean, we are on internet,
Yeah. I mean,
so
what's your nickname? Jeff Goldblum?
you go through, right? I mean, I do look like a Mexican Jeff Gold. Let's be honest. So, anyways, going back, I did have some of the experience like that. There was this a kid, but he looked like the hood. Nothing wrong with it. I came from the hood in Mexico City too, but he was like hesitant to approach me. But it was also suspicious, really sus. I was like,
Yeah.
and I was on my truck. I was parked. I was just waiting for another friend. So he didn't know if to approach me or not, right? Sizing me. So I was like, man, like this is weird. So then he comes and he's like, hey, roll down the window. I'm like, oh, should I? So
We're in Texas. That's when you start looking for your gun.
that's right. So I think that in Texas people think it twice, right? Because they don't know if
Mhm.
you have a gun or not. But
Mhm.
anyways, the guy gets closer. Then I roll down the window. He's like, "Hey, sir, I just want to ask you, what do you do for a living?" And it's like sometimes I don't even realize, right? Like for us, we just are just in the freaking truck, and
Yeah.
it's like any for us, it's just the car. But yes, people have these assumptions that you are like successful or whatever, like, and I just told them like I'm a software programmer, right, to see what the person would say, and the person didn't like, huh, like he didn't compute, I guess, like it's like, well, okay, I also have few business, okay. So that was interesting that a software programmer didn't did the the trick for him, but having a businesses, that's what it
Yeah.
did for him. So, and
I
then
used
the
to
guy,
answer with, I'm a project manager. Really confused. I started changing that. Now it's like, I'm a YouTuber. We're negative so far on our channel, y'all, as far as making money. So
yes.
don't think that we're raking it in here, but
Yeah.
that'll
This is
change
like
soon.
almost it's an expensive hobby, like even all of this equipment hasn't even paid by itself. Anyways, going
Yeah.
back to the story, uh, the guy started asking me questions. It's like, what do you think that I should do? It's like, well, I need a little bit more context, bro. I was like, he just like, I just met you a few seconds ago, right? So it turned out that he was a kid. He was like 19-year-old, but the guy
Mhm.
looked super old. He looked pretty beat up, like
Got a
for a
lot of
19-year-old.
got a lot of miles on him already.
Yeah, like and yeah, it showed. So I spent like I don't know 15-20 minutes just kind of giving him some ideas, and the guy was so like grateful. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this into action. I one day I'm gonna have a Cybertrucks. Probably you'll have two. So, but yeah, I
Yeah, Elon will put him on discount by that point.
take all of the Cybertrucks that they didn't sell,
Yeah.
but to take them for free, like right now in Europe, right? You can just get like a freaking
Right.
house.
Well, right. Because, okay. So I don't know, did we get to this point that only 2.5% of the
Mm,
reservation holders, because remember there was like 1 or 2 million people that actually put reservation down for these
yep,
trucks. Only 2.5% decided to actually buy the truck for the
yep.
foundation. So I don't know. I mean, I think they probably thought this would happen by raising the price. And in fact, that's probably one of the reasons why they raised the price, because they knew they would be able to deliver, 1 million trucks in a year or two. It's going to take them a while to ramp up. But
Yep.
what do you think that means for the Cybertruck? Do you think that means they like messed up? like Elon messed up, miscalculated, or do you think this is kind of all part of the plan, or within the range of their plan?
Uh, it's kind of hard to tell though because I felt that is more than what they expected. I think that because they have to change the plant in Austin, right? They have to put more resources there. So in my opinion, I think that they saw a lot of inflow, and maybe they have a lot of data. It has been very quiet, the reservations for the roster, but it's there. If you want a Tesla roster, you can just check the page and I feel that for that one, I think that was 4,000 or 5,000
It's a little
to
bit bigger of a down payment. Yeah.
yeah. So it was, I believe that the truck I paid for $100 if I remember for the reservation.
Hmm.
So yeah, which probably that also maybe they learn there is like hey only couple percentage they're gonna get it, as might as well just raise it to see truly a little bit more who is gonna be more interested.
Hmm.
So, but if you
Yeah.
think about it, if it's 1 million reservations, $100 they just got 100 meals for reservation and they didn't have a product. Genius, marketing genius.
Well, they had one. They built one version that way. The SEC probably doesn't come after them for selling future stuff. That's one of the things that we had to think about when we were trying to create our own coin. At some point, we're doing gold coin or something. We have to have a product attached to it, or otherwise SEC would come after you. Anyways, I'm digressing. Well, so for those of y'all that are interested in getting a Cybertruck now, they did release the version that's under that $80,000 mark, so that you can also get the EV rebate out of it. So technically, I think it's 79,999, something like that, and you can get a $7,500 rebate. So you should be able to get a truck for 72.5, a Cybertruck. It's not going to be the Beast version; it'll be the all-wheel drive version. But they all look the same. So I mean, you can get one. And 72K is like is 45K less than what I paid, right? Just like 6 months ago. So
Yeah.
there's your opportunity if you really want one. So we'll see how many people actually end up going out there now and just start ordering them, because they're
Hmm.
available at this point, I think.
Yeah. One thing that is coming out though from Toyota, this is an interesting thing. They're trying to create a cartridge to be able to have like this mobile cartridge to be able to plug it into the EV. That will be a very interesting if they are able to do that. So in that way, for whatever reason, because it's kind of annoying to be like driving. That's the part that I don't like yet. I went to Austin. I have to stop by Bucky's. That's the reason why I have the T-shirt. And yeah, I spent 34 minutes right just buying bucket nuggets and it's just waiting for my freaking truck to charge, right? So, um, but I think that maybe with the cartridges that would be interesting. If you can just plug it there, like wherever you're parking, or even doesn't matter when you see like, okay, and then I need to park wherever you
Mhm.
are, you plug it that thing on, and that would be very interesting.
Yeah, going back to combustion engines uh, from EV, anything's possible. We'll see how all of that works. They both, I think they probably have this similar fire risk as the lithium batteries, right? That are in the EVs right now. Do you know who's working on the hydrogen technology for the car? Is it Toyota or?
Toyota, it has and they say that they are close, so we
Mhm.
should put maybe a picture to see how they're thinking and how it looks. But yeah, Toyota, they say that they are close to get it done.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. And then I wonder if the same engines will actually work. It's just a different fuel, with they have like a spark plug, ignition, all that stuff. I wonder how that'll be. And then you'd have to.
I don't think so, man. I think that is more like a chemical on how they just put the cartridge because it's a
Mhm.
cartridge that they will connect it
Yeah.
uh, into the basically the EV. So but yeah, we'll see how.
Oh, okay. It would be to charge an EV, not to
Yeah, yep.
do internal combustion. Okay. Well, we'll check it out. We'll keep an eye on that one to see kind of how that ends up rolling out. That would be interesting, um, especially if they can like just do basically it's like a battery,
Yeah,
extra
maybe
battery for your vehicle.
it's basically, and it has almost that shape in a larger.
Hmm.
So maybe it will ignite with electrically, and then just burn the whole thing, so that way create combustion in hydrogen, and then it's just that energy. So we'll see how close they can get it.
Sounds a little bit like the Back to the Future DeLorean, where you put all the
Uh-huh.
extra thing in there and charge it up and gives you the
Well,
good watts, and then you fly.
that was trash, right? Like in one
Yeah.
of the movies, the guy changed it for trash, which is like it would be nice, if they can
Well,
do
it's
that.
just one step away from that, right? Does when you decompose, isn't hydrogen one of the things that comes out of there? One of the gases? I don't know. Uh, Chemistry 101 or chemistry for
we,
engineers back at A&M was a long time ago for me, so I don't remember.
we need to send you back to, to
We need to
middle
get
school.
some of the chemical engineers out there to help me out with that.
Cool. So, all right, what do we got in AI?
All right, just to close out today, talk a little bit about AI. I think there's been, some progression, just slow progression and things like that. Right now, ChatGPT 4.0, we've got Claude that's got their new versions out there. Y'all probably heard of Perplexity that has access to the internet. Um, Gemini is always doing well. I think they're supposed to announce their next model and things like that. And actually, OpenAI released their a new, I guess, maturation model for their AIs, where first, it's like a chat, then it's like I forget what they had. There's agents, and then there's reasoning, and then there's it's kind of this 5-step model. Well, as part of this progression, OpenAI or ChatGPT, they've released something called Canvas, which kind of if you think about the workflow for like a developer today, right? Uh, it's not like they can just point the AI and it just starts doing everything for you and pieces everything together. There's still the engineer, the developer that still has to, tell it what to do here, tell it to do what to do here, put things together in your IDE, and then like run it and test it. So there's still a lot of manual steps. It's not like a complete end-to-end workflow. However, Canvas is supposed to be doing something different and helping with that. What do you got to say about it, Mondo?
I use GPT. I have been using it every day since it came out. Um, Something that I noticed this past week is that I was asking a couple questions. It created a Python program that's kind of like sure whatever that has been there, but the part that is new that it was new that I didn't see before is that it actually has an interpreter, and it actually showed me the results of the Python program, which that's neat. And then it actually it noticed that it had an error without me actually telling the next instruction, hey, fix this problem. It actually just tried to reprocess it again and analyzing it. So that was neat, and I feel that that feature is kind of new because I haven't seen it popping out. Once again, I use it also for in source code and things like that. So, which is very very interesting. I don't think that it is the canvas thing that you're talking about, but I saw it on the regular chat.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty, either way, pretty cool. I think they're learning now that the next step is to cut out the extra steps, right? Um, when, it's like when we were doing, uh, working on products, right, in previous companies. It's like, how many clicks do you have to do to get to your, you know to do whatever the feature is that you want to do, right? So everything ended up being one click so and so, one click so and so to do one thing and that thing, right? So I guess OpenAI is actually trying to get to that point also, but there's all the underlying technology that they've got to build and stitch together. And in a way, it's kind of not stitching things together. They're teaching it to do it on its own, right? So this
Hmm.
is one of those first steps where it realized itself. It did its reasoning, which that's what 4.0 is supposed to be good at. Is like, hey, I just did this code, but I think something's not quite right. And let me go back and see what's wrong, figure out what's wrong, and then fix it. So its reasoning is getting better. It's understanding kind of the workflow better. And you didn't even have to prompt it, right? It did it on its own. So
It
that's
did
pretty
on its
cool.
own. So you can see kind of like usually it was giving you the output and it stops there. But now this time it's like it saw that it had some compilation issues. Then it just continue like, huh. And it's just interesting to me how they're able to kind of create agents internally because I don't think that it's even in the same prompt. I think that
Hmm.
internally they have this concept of agents. Right now, you're seeing that word popping out in the AI communities and different companies where you have the AI LLMs responding for the prompts, whatever it is, right, for video, image, or text. And then they call them the agents, like the orchestrators, to be able to figure out what is the next step. And there are some complicated ones which you have a workflow for that. So, but yeah, it's interesting that they are making it without you having to do much on the interface.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It's going a long ways. And there's been some other folks that are like, hey, to get more out of this, we need bigger hardware, more hardware, things like that. But the folks over at Nvidia, they just released their I think their 70B model. It's called like Neutron or Neurotina. I don't remember what it was, but um, they're able to start doing more with less now and things like that. And I think a lot of it has to do with this reasoning, this internal reasoning um, that these neural nets can now do. It's like it's getting just more efficient and things like that. Before you know it, it's going to really you're going to be able to run a lot of stuff just off your phone pretty easily. And right now, it sends data back and forth right back to the clusters, but I can say eventually you're going to be able to run locally on just your phone. I mean, I'm able to run locally some things on a laptop, right? But you're kind of limited on your GPUs. But
Yeah.
uh, we're getting there, and there's a little bit of progress every day. By the way, OpenAI said that I think they're targeting December for their next rollout of their next model. So this sounds like December is going to be pretty interesting.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's all we got for today, right, Mando?
Yeah. So like we always say, like and subscribe, right? And leave some comments.
That's right. We love hearing from y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Dale.
Bye.